Hello, I'm John McAllister with the John McAllister Sports Report. Today, we're going to go into the area of college coaching and talk with an old good friend of mine, Tyson Veidt, who is now the defensive coordinator at University of Cincinnati, going into his second year there, and has done a good job. Talk to him about a lot of things, about his coaching progression, where he's been, who he's worked for. Also talk about linebacker play a little bit, which is what he has coached primarily, and also just little tidbits of how how you can be a better football player, and get some of his philosophy on coaching. It's a lot. He does a great job. Smart, articulate, and thorough. And I really appreciate him being on my show today. So if you'll sit back and enjoy my video podcast with the defensive coordinator from the University of Cincinnati, Tyson Veidt. My guest today, as I said earlier, is Tyson Veidt. I've known him for many moons. I met him at Bluffton many years ago. And one of the things I like about you, Tyson, is that you've almost followed the progression to be a college coach. I mean, you started out, I forget high school wise, but I know you were the head coach at Bluffton, and you're probably a mountain guy, right?
Actually, Muskingum.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
No Mount guy here. I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. Muskingum.
My wife, though, my wife is a Mount Union grad, though, so not too far away from that.
That figures. All you guys are Mount guys, and tired of it. Now, right now, you're the defensive coordinator, second year going into your second year at UC.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Let's go backwards real quickly. Where did you get your start?
So actually, John, started at Muskingum when I was finished playing there, and coached there for 3 seasons. And then that's when we used to get the McAllister report, and that spiral bound deal, and share that through the office on with all the guys all around, and then went to Indiana University for a season, and then actually back to Muskingum for 3 more.
Wow.
Yeah. And then left again and went to be a graduate assistant at West Virginia University. So that would have been the 04 and 05 seasons there. And then from there went to St. Vincent College in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Yep. And that was a startup program situation there. They had dropped football in the late 50s, and we're bringing it back. The Steelers had gone there for years for training camp and still do.
Right.
So they had some facilities in place, but I was there for 2 seasons. And then from there went to Bluffton. So was at Bluffton from 08 to 13 as the head coach there. And then from there went to Toledo with Coach Campbell there for 2. And then to Iowa State, was at Iowa State with Matt for 8.
I'm prejudiced, but I don't think there are too many better head coaches to learn from than Matt Campbell. And
very true.
I'm
very true.
Now, let me tell you one Muskingum joke. And I coached at the college. It's not a joke about Muskingum. I coached at the College of Worcester back in, I think it was 75 or 70, someplace in there in the middle of 70s. And we were playing, and down the road we were playing Ohio Northern. And that's where Coach Holman had coached. And he said, I want you to go down and scout 2 games ahead. I want you to go down and watch Muskingum, and I forget who they were playing. The head coach was a legendary guy there, Christopher, I think.
Yeah, Al Christopher. Then that's right.
Well, so we got down there. I got down there. It was like 2 games because he really wanted to be the High Northern, Coach Hood. So I get down there and they put me up in the press box, and this is the best spread I've ever seen up in that press box. They had all kind of food and drinks, all this stuff. So 2 games later, when we play down there, when Worcester plays down there, I told Coach, I said, Coach, I can get a better view, I think, up in the press box. So he's on the side, and I said, okay, go ahead. Man, that food was good. That's my story on West Kingdom. It's really
That's
good.
awesome.
Really good. Okay, let's talk a few things. You're the defensive coordinator. Tell me what a defensive coordinator does.
Sure. Well, I think the number one job of anybody coordinating anything is you have to get everybody on the same page, working together, fighting for the same things, and believing in the same things, staff wise, player wise. And, John, in this day and age, there's so many staff members.
Wow.
Because you have graduate assistants more than ever. You now have quality control people. You've got analysts. You've got more student assistants than ever that are trying to get in early and right. As undergrad students. So you've got a lot of people to manage. So I think that's the number one thing is having everybody believe in the same foundation. And I think that's the part of it that you've always worked for, is having everybody going in the same right. direction with the same vision. But there's so many more people now right. than you used to have. So, but that's the number one goal, John, is to have everybody fighting for the same things, believing in fundamentals. We're still about that, teaching fundamentals and simply the pursuit of the football, the things that don't require talent are still what we're trying to get.
Right. Okay. Tell me, sell me on UC.
Sure.
Sell me on UC. I go back to when Mark D'Antonio was there. That's when I started going down, and then with Luke, and then I haven't been there for you guys. I have to get down. Sell me on UC.
Absolutely. Well, and you mentioned a little bit of it, a great tradition and great history here.
Right.
A lot of great coaches, a lot of great players, and
I forgot about him.
Yeah. There's been a lot before us, and a lot of guys playing in the NFL right now, and we've had a draft pick here 10 years in a row, and so I think the part of that is huge for us in really a new time frame with being in the Big 12. I think right. that's been right. You talk about all the change over all the years at the University of Cincinnati with coaches and all those things. I think probably the biggest transition would be that you're going from the conference you were in the American Athletic to the Big 12. A lot of times since I've been here, I've correlated it with, and I mentioned being at St. Vincent. Well, we, recruited this team and jumped right into a regular schedule, where you're going from the American Conference right into the Big 12. There's no,
right.
There's no lead in, there's no preliminary year. There's none of that. You're in it. And you know how it goes. Nobody cares about anybody else's problems. Right. So, that part's been a huge transition here. But it's very exciting. Obviously with all of that comes a lot of responsibility and a lot of opportunity to be in the Big 12 conference.
I think one of the biggest things with the Big 12, and I think Coach Fickle used to talk about it, is recruiting. I know a lot of, your coaches and their teams and all these things, but recruiting has changed now. It shouldn't, but it has.
It has, right? Yeah.
Hopefully you, I don't know. Anyway, it has changed.
It has. Absolutely, it has. And I think, and you know all the reasons why it's changed, but
Yeah.
you're right.
Right.
However, you still have to do a great job in your own state and your own area for sure.
For sure.
And you know the difficulty, the great part about being in Ohio, there's great football. The difficulty about recruiting in Ohio, everybody is.
Everybody is.
So you're fighting through that every day too. We just opened a nearly $140 million facility.
Nice.
Which you've got to come see that, John. It's certainly.
Are your offices in there now?
They are. We've got everything in there now. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was with Coach Fickle when they were talking about it, and showing me and ideas and stuff. Yeah, I will. As I turn 77 tomorrow. Okay.
Tomorrow?
Yeah. So wow. I'm 77. I'm old enough to be your grandpa, I think.
Well, but my dad's 82.
Oh, I gotta meet him, man. 77. But I do less traveling, but I'm going to start back up, just picking my spots. That was one of the hardest things I did when I started this football scouting evaluation is travel. And people say, well, you don't mind driving to Cleveland? I said, no, I love driving to Cleveland, but it's coming back at 11 o'clock at night. I don't like it. Anyway.
No doubt about it.
Let's talk about what do your GAs and whatever bring you a player? What are you looking? Let's just go linebackers only. Because I think that's such a hard place to recruit. A true linebacker. Now you get a lot of these guys that are first down tackle to tackle guys, and that's it. I think one of the best linebackers is up at Old Tangi. I mean, he's
really good.
He can run. He's going to get bigger. He threw the discus 200 feet. So anyway, tell me, what do you look for in linebackers?
Sure.
Just a few things.
Absolutely. I think naturally watching linebackers on video, and this goes really with every position, I try to watch them from the ground up initially, looking at how they bend in their ankles and their knees and all those things before you even
ankles and bend.
Yes.
Tell me about ankles. I talk about linemen. I say, you got stovepipe legs. I know you can't run. And they go, no, you can't. You got to have a skinny ankle. Go ahead.
That's right. The flexibility portion of it, as you're watching them bend and getting their stance, a lot of times you can figure out if you like a guy pretty early on just with that. I think too, John, and you know, and you mentioned it, the difficulty of the linebacker spot. You've got some guys that you think are going to be linebackers, but they might not be playing linebacker. You've got guys that are playing on the line of scrimmage, doing a lot of that in some of their high school defenses. And you've got guys that maybe because of what they do, they're not actually necessarily playing a fundamental linebacker spot. They may just be blitzing every single snap. Those are difficult guys to evaluate, right? So
every play.
I think you get excited a lot of times when you actually see a guy reading and reacting, dropping when it's a pass, playing downhill or in the correct angle when it's a run and those things. But ultimately, I feel like we're looking for versatility.
Okay.
So I think it's difficult to recruit a guy that you think that guy is a Mike linebacker only.
But some of those guys are like that.
But some of them are. They are, and you're still going to have to find the guy that's going to be that. Yeah. Maybe he grows into that. However, while you have him, hopefully, and then he's got a little bit of that time where he's played on the outside. Knows what that feels like, and then you have him playing over the ball. I still think you're looking for guys that you feel like have a high ceiling, and got room to develop with their length and their frame. I think it's still about doing that with linebackers a lot as well. And yet the instinctive part, I think, it is certainly can't be an underrated thing. You got to see instinct out of guys and improvise and all those things that your linebackers are going to have to do when you have them, because no two plays are going to be the same.
Well, trust. Yeah, it's good. I want to get to something else, but for me, I remember talking to a linebacker, golly, probably 5 years ago now, and he was this guy. He walked like, he's going to kick something. He walked like a bar fighter or something. He walked like this. I watched him play, and he didn't run very well. Plus, he liked to jack up guys. So I said, you got to learn. I don't know if you're fast enough. Oh, yeah, I'm up. I said, but you got to learn to get off blocks.
Right.
Redirect. I said, the old days of the 52 angle defense, they're gone. I said, if anything, you don't want that guy to hit you.
That's right. That's exactly right.
He ended up going to a big school in Ohio, and now he's, I think, in West Virginia or someplace. Good run.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Let's talk about different. I have got different questions for you now.
Sure.
What made you want to be a football coach?
Great question. Well, my college coach, really. I started as a graduate assistant with him, and he was a big influence. Jeff Haycock was a big influence on me, as obviously.
Haycock's the best one. Don't tell John, for heaven's sakes. Go ahead.
But obviously, as a player in college, he was a huge influence on me as my college coach. Got into coaching with him first, so I think the part of it that was great for me, I started out coaching at my alma mater, so I already had a lot of pride and knew the place and could sell it and all those things on the recruiting end of it. Felt comfortable there, and you know how it is when you're starting as a young guy. Some of the guys you're coaching you played with, so that part of it's always a unique thing at that level as well. But just knowing the impact that you can have on a young guy between the ages of 18 and 22, or even 17 and 23, and
they're still boys. They're still kids. They're still boys.
Absolutely. So, and I don't think there is any place like a college football locker room, a college football workout, a college, anything you're doing with a team in that regard. I don't think there's anything like it. So that's really why I got into it. And I think, John, even at the level, Division III as a player and as a coach, both seeing the opportunity that level gave a lot of guys. Still does. They're the first in their family to go and graduate from college, and what football gave them the opportunity to do that. So that's no different at any level.
I think two things. One, it's kind of a joke. I was at a Browns practice, and Jimmy Brown was still alive. Okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't know Jimmy Brown. For heaven's sakes, I'm just telling. Anyway, I'm standing there along the wall in the shade, and Jimmy Brown sitting in a recliner, or one of those seats and benches.
Yeah.
And the players were right on the end zone, and they made an interception, and the guys are all jumping around, screaming and yelling. And Jim Brown looked at me and said, "Just a bunch of kids playing a man's game." And it's so true. I always think that they're still kids, even
absolutely,
and they enjoy it. Okay. What do you think what are the keys to a successful coach? College, any coach, what are the keys? Give me three, Tyson.
Well, number one is consistency, which we really spend a lot of time talking with our guys about that. I think how you handle kids consistently, the way you interact with them consistently, the things you're doing on your side of the ball that you're always consistent with, the things you're demanding from guys. And it certainly still is about having a great attitude. It's still about that. It's still about hard work. It is the effort you're putting into things. And it's still about playing harder for longer than the teams you're playing. I think that those simply put, those are the things that matter the most. So I would say the consistency part, the attitude part, and the effort part are really the things that you're just as a coach, then you're demanding those same things that those should carry right down through to your staff and your team.
Right. Sure. Okay, I have just a couple more.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, all good. Yeah.
What are the biggest challenges, no matter if you're at Muskie or if you're at University of Ashland, or if you're at Ohio State, or if you're at Cincinnati? What are the biggest issues facing young people, young players today, college football players today?
I would say, John, the part that it is really, really hard to play college football. And a lot of guys are going through this recruiting process at every level. And, all my years and most of my years have been a Division III guy. The young guys you recruit at Division III, they think they're going to come in and play for you right away. And the young guys you're recruiting at, you mentioned Ashland at Division II, they think they're going to come in and play right away. And then the same here. So I think the part of that is the demands on a college student athlete, especially the sport of football. It's really, really hard. With that part being really, really hard, it's really, really hard to mesh a team together. As you know, it always has been. That's what you spend all your time on, to have this unified team. Quite different now, because you may have a guy for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, so the time of really having your whole recruiting class for 4 or 5 years, those, as we know, those days aren't. It's
far and few between, I think.
That's right. Yeah. You'll have a few guys naturally, and just not the group in its entirety. So I think that's the part that I think for young guys to know that it is so drastically different than what they're going through in high school, no matter how successful their high school is or how they're not. It's a huge change for every single guy.
Yeah. I've done this for a couple of years and evaluations, but boy, that's just the case. And the other thing is, and I think this is almost at any level, definitely at Division I or whatever they call Power 4, whatever now. But I think I did an interview with a boy that played in a small school down by New Philly, in that area down there. Okay. And he went to Michigan, and he ended up playing the last couple of years. But, he told me, he said, I said, what was one of the biggest changes? He goes, well, when we played high school football, we'd have practice in the morning, go home and eat, maybe come back at 1 o'clock, have some meetings, and maybe practice at 5. But he said, I came to Michigan, 7:30 we were here. I left at 10:30 at night. And that's a big change. And I'm sure you guys got to be close to something like that.
That's right. And I think that's a great way to say it. Also,
it's a business.
The summertime has become so much bigger.
Yeah.
And so much longer, and such that that the summertime is not far off of that with,
Oh,
and you got school in the summer too. It's not just you're not just lifting for 2 hours and going back to your dorm anymore. There's so many things, and community service, and because with all these other opportunities, John, has become all of these other responsibilities.
right. That's a good point.
And that's and all the opportunities that guys have are tremendous.
Yeah.
But the part of the responsibility that comes with that probably is not talked about as much as it should be to prepare guys when they're coming in.
My last question. Okay, I really appreciate you being on the show.
This is awesome.
It's so good. We could talk a lot of stuff for I always shoot for 20 minutes, which is a joke. Now it's at 25. But my last question, what gets you the most excited about coaching football at UC?
Well, number one, being at a place in the state that I grew up in is unbelievable. Unbelievable responsibility and opportunity. Two, being at a place in the state that I grew up in that has such great tradition and history and has had so many coaches and players go through here and such a great pride is unbelievable. I think the part that we mentioned earlier, that the great opportunities here for the University of Cincinnati to be in the Big 12 conference is so unbelievable. And the responsibility to build a Big 12 football team here is great. And we're certainly working to do our very best at that. But those are the things, John, when you know how it goes when you're the only the people that are born and raised in Ohio, like many other states, they know how it feels to be here, and the ability to impact not just the young men you're recruiting from the state of Ohio, but to be accessible to the high school coaches and all the things. And that's where I built all my relationships as a young coach starting out, was in the state of Ohio, Yeah. So now a lot of guys that not only that I played with, but coached are coaching in the state of Ohio, and have had great contacts with all of those guys as well. So those are the things for sure.
I skipped this, we can't talk about it now, but how relationships are so important. I'm just a guy. Okay. And I had some ideas, but building relationships is crazy.
Absolutely.
It's so huge. Coach Veidt, I really appreciate you being on this program.
I really appreciate you asking me, John. It's great to see you.
I had to wait a year. Of course, you had to move your family, and I'm joking, that. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you, John, and make sure you stay in touch. It was great to see you.